Ring ring. Hello. Hi there, is this Michael? Who's this? Hi Michael, my name is Linda. I'm a local real estate agent. How are you doing today? What is Michael thinking at this moment? Feel free to comment down below. This is what I believe Michael is thinking. This lady doesn't care about how I'm doing today. She doesn't even know me. She's fake. She wants something. She is the ninth person to call me this morning. How do I hang up on her quickly without being too rude? I have always believed the "How are you doing" opener is weak for four reasons. Number one, it's not genuine. It's not sincere. When you call a friend and ask them how you're doing, you actually know that person and you're concerned about their welfare. When you call a lead, you don't know who they are. And are you really concerned about their welfare, or are you trying to get them to talk to you about selling their house? I'm not saying you don't care about their welfare, but that's not the intention of the phone call. So I don't think it's being honest or genuine. Number two, the question has nothing to do with the call's purpose. Number three, you're immediately making the lead defensive, in my opinion, because they know you want something. You're not saying it because you're covering up with, "How are you doing today?" But you've interrupted their day for selfish reasons, and they know that. And you know that as well. And you're giving control to the other person with that question. They might not want to tell you how their day is going because you're a complete stranger. So they're going to tell you something like, "I'm in a hurry. I got to go. I don't have time for this. I'm in a meeting," or whatever else. When I went through ISA training 7 years ago, my trainer taught me to never say that. Interestingly enough, my trainer was not a real estate agent, but he was a sales professional. He had a lot of sales training. He sold RVs and other types of products, and he had, I think, a master's in some type of sales psychology. He really got into the psychology of sales, and he taught me and everyone else in my class not to say that. He later got his real estate license, and now he's super successful, and he maintains that you do not open a cold call with that. Now, I do understand that there are other agents and YouTubers, very successful ones, that will encourage you to use this opening. I don't like it for the reasons that I just gave you. And I don't like it when it's used on me by telemarketers. I value being polite and direct. And I worked in markets that are big cities, and in big cities, people have a fast pace of life, and their conversations are usually pretty quick too. So getting to the point saves time and it earns respect, in my opinion. As a new agent or as somebody who's just starting to cold call, you are going to develop your own style. I definitely encourage you to use your own personality because that's where your value comes from. You always want to be yourself, and your market might be different than markets I've worked in. You're on my YouTube channel, so I'm going to give you advice, techniques that have been taught to me, what I've used out there on my calls, and how I feel when I'm being approached by a telemarketer. These are all my viewpoints and my experiences, and you will develop them on your own. But this is just my take on that opening. So what do I say instead? Well, it all depends on the leads that I'm calling. For sell by owner leads and expired and canceled listing leads are very different people because they have very different mindsets. The for sale by owner seller is new to the market. They're feeling confident. They're feeling optimistic. They've set their price. They feel like they're going to get it. They feel like they're going to get a lot of attention. So they have a positive mindset. The expired or canceled listing seller is feeling disappointed, frustrated, maybe even mistrustful of people because they had trusted somebody before and they didn't get the results they were looking for. Not to say it was the agent's fault. We never know. There's always two sides to every story. And they're also stressed out. So you've got to know your audience when you are making these calls, and you've got to cater your message to each type of audience individually. So you've got two different moods, so you should have two different approaches. This is the script that I use for the most part when I am reaching out to a for sale by owner seller. Hello, Fred. My name is Mandy. I'm a local realtor. I just wanted to give you a quick call about your home at 123 Maple that you're selling. I totally respect your desire to sell without an agent. I was just curious. And then I'll put in a pause for effect because they're wanting to know, what are you curious about? If you're not able to sell in the next couple of weeks, would you consider interviewing agents at that time and then see what they have to say? I would love to personally show you how I helped my last seller achieve their sales goal. I like this script because number one, I'm being very honest and direct. Number two, and maybe this should be number one, I immediately acknowledge and show respect for their for sale by owner position. As a new real estate agent, I'm looking for houses to sell. As a for sale by owner, they don't want an agent to help them. So we are kind of adversaries at the outset, and we want to disarm the for sale by owner seller. We don't want to be adversaries. We want to be on their team. So when you show respect for their position of selling for sale by owner, you are disarming them and you are saying, I'm coming in peace. When I ask people this, they give me more information. If we don't sell it, my cousin's going to list it. We're not in a hurry. Call us back in a month. So now I've got them engaging. It might not be a lot, but that's a little bit of something I can work with. Now that we have an exchange going on or a conversation, I can pepper in other questions. I really love your backyard landscaping. So you're acknowledging that you're looking at the photos of their listing. May I ask if your plan is to stay in the area? Now you're kind of fishing for the buy side as well. Are they looking to sell and buy? You're just trying to gauge, what kind of opportunity do I have here? From what I can see, you've owned the home for 10 years. You've done your homework on the property, which is important to them. They know you're not just some random person who's going to ask them for information. You've actually collected some intel, which shows that you've done your work, which looks good on you. And you can really get that sold date from Zillow. That's why I have that in here. And you can also talk about your accomplishments. Well, we just sold the house about a mile away, got it in contract in 5 days. You're throwing in a little zinger here or there to kind of pique their interest and to really grab their attention. So you've got the conversation up and moving, and you're keeping them talking, you're staying positive, and you're working on building rapport. And I also like to throw into, I love to stop by for a quick property preview so I can see the home through a buyer's perspective. I learned that my first year in being an ISA. I want to see the home from a buyer's perspective because we all know photos tell one story, but being there in person and really getting a good look at the property, it tells a whole other story. So you want to take notes, and then you want to schedule follow-up if they're not ready to allow you to come by at that time. So what do I say to my expired or canceled listing sellers? Remember, they're feeling disappointed, frustrated, mistrustful, and they're stressed out. Hello, Fred. My name is Mandy. I'm a local realtor. I'm just calling about your property at 123 Maple that came off the market, it looks like 3 months ago. Was just curious about two things. Pause again for effect. And I say the numbers. I say number one, do you still want to sell the property? And number two, are you open to a fresh selling strategy? I get kind of dramatic when I say these questions because I feel like they're listening. What do you want to know? What are your questions? And I like this approach because, again, I'm being honest and direct. It's very important when you're calling expired or canceled listings to try to get as much information as you can from the previous MLS listing so you can kind of size up the seller. Look at days on market. If they've been on the market for 3 months or more, I believe there was a genuine desire to sell, even if they tell you otherwise. Remember, actions speak louder than words. Now, if they've been on the market for 2 months or less, I think they're low-mo, which you can kind of gauge how much you want to pursue them at that point. I have typos in here, sorry about that. Okay, also I have a video here on the channel how to qualify my sellers. I will put a link in the description so you can check out that video. I can't think of any situation where someone would prefer stale over fresh unless you're making breadcrumbs. I really mean that. You're kind of politely jabbing them. If you go with the last agent, things are going to be stale. But if you go with me, I can offer you a fresh strategy to get people in the door. I learned this during my ISA training by listening to another cold caller, Barbara. She was great. She always used to say, fresh selling strategy. And then as usual, you're going to ask the other follow-up questions. Why did you list the home for sale? Did you have a lot of showings? Did you have any offers? What was the buyer feedback? I hope these tips are helpful for you. I know part of the fear of cold calling is breaking that ice and just trying to get the lead speaking with you. And I feel if you approach them in an honest way and you're direct about your intentions, you're starting the conversation off on a good level because then you're not misrepresenting your intentions. Be direct. We're in business. We sell houses. Do you need our help in helping you sell your house? Let's just call it what it is. I think honesty goes a long way, and I think we really need that in sales in this industry too. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If so, please leave me a thumbs up down below, and I will see you on the next one.